What is up, everybody? It's your boy here today, and we're gonna talk about people who are obviously triggered by my videos. Once again, I don't know why people get so triggered about these videos. You said some ridiculous statements on social media. I react to it, and people get triggered apparently. So this person saw one of my videos that I did apparently about his tweet about Xbox being subpar. I obviously didn't agree with that opinion. People in the comment section down below didn't agree with it, but I'm the one who gets people triggered. Apparently, I don't know why, but my videos have that effect apparently. So, as like when people get triggered by these videos, they have to take personal shots. They can't just deal with the subject. Like when I make these videos, I'm only dealing with the game and topics that's being addressed right here. Like this guy saying Xbox been subpar. They haven't been great for 20 years, which I thought was a completely ridiculous statement. So I made my video just based on these talking points. But you know, the point has to be made, as with these Xbox haters and Sony fanboys. Why do you have all the toys in the background? This guy is a complete weirdo for having all the toys in the background. So I don't know why people are so obsessed with the toys in the background. Like, does that make my point less invalid? But apparently, I'm a weirdo for having toys in the background. It's like, at this point, like, is this really a thing? Like this whole stigma that if you collect toys, you're just a complete weirdo. I know where it stems from because especially like different like forms of media, where like whether movies or TV shows, like for example, the ones like that goes off my head, the 40-Year-Old Virgin movie, the guy collected action figures. And he was an outcast, he was a virgin or whatever, and they made mockery of the entire movie. So you got media like that, or you got TV shows like The Simpsons, where I believe the what is the assistant to the Mr. Burns character? I think his name is Smithers. I haven't watched The Simpsons in a while, but I remember there was one episode where he collected Barbies. It was like making fun of him too because once one he's a man, watching why is he collecting Barbies, but the fact that he collected toys, that was a point of mockery in that show right there. So you got different forms of media which reinstate the stereotype that collecting toys is weird for adults, but there's plenty of toys just marketed for adults to begin with. Like if you go to a Walmart or a Target, there's a whole NECA section to begin with, which is like you can buy like different figures of horror movie icons, whether it be Chucky, Pennywise, Jason. Those aren't marketed for kids. I'm be pretty disturbed if you see a kid playing with a Chucky or a Michael Myers action figure. I'd be pretty disturbed at that point. But you know, they gotta get the whole sentiment, the personal shots that you're aware of collecting toys. But when you look at toy collecting channels on YouTube, like the gaming community is pretty big, but the toy collecting community for adults is pretty big as well too. So once again, the first thing you see is probably kids channels, but you look at those, you go further, you see people who are adults going doing toy hunts where they film themselves buying toys from new stores, from different stores, and it's pretty popular. So uh once again, this guy's a pretty big YouTube channel. He does just buy all retro stuff, and people are watching this guy collect toys, VHS, and games as an adult. So I'm pretty sure there's a large community of people who want to watch who collect toys as adults. They can't all be weirdos. And this whole weirdo situation, I think somebody who just hates on Xbox on a daily basis is it's pretty weird. Like that's not normal. Like you're a so-called gamer boy, you just hate on Xbox on a consistent basis. Like that's just weird in my opinion. But you know, to each their own. I think people who watch sports and get super like energetic or super like emotional about sports is super weird. Like if behind me you didn't see Funko Pops, but you saw like baseball memorabilia, that'll be normal apparently, which is fascinating. People who want to wear the different jerseys, collect the memorabilia, pretend they're on the team, root for the different team. Apparently that's normal to people. Like that's socially acceptable. People yell at their TV when a team is like losing or something like that. That's socially acceptable. But when you collect an action figures and toys or whatever, that's weird. Apparently, it's just fascinating. But yeah, look at all these different channels right here. This guy says it's the largest toy show in Chicago. And it's like a lot of people are there. I'm pretty sure you go to these different toy shows. It's not even kids there. It's mostly adults who do this. So, but apparently to this clown right here who was so ignorant. Apparently, it's just everybody just weird who collect toys as adults. It's like it's not because it's nostalgia or anything, but it is just so fascinating because these people will complain all day that other people will find video games as being like a children's toy or like it's a weird hobby. But you know, he can play that same judgment. People collect action figures. Like it's just fascinating how it just goes over their head. They say buying toys is a weirdo activity, but People can say you playing video games is weirdo activity. Are you gonna stop playing video games at that point? Oh man. Once again, they can't refute any of my talking points. They have to take these low shots, which I don't care about. It's like I'm an adult. It's like when I collect action figures, I'm gonna do that. You're not gonna change my opinion just because you throw some jokes. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change my opinion at all. But what was I about to say? Like I said, they didn't refute any points. Just took these weird shots. It's just ridiculous. Like they can never refute any point. Then the only point he could possibly come up with is that hey, look at the numbers. Obviously, that proves that it's a subpar product. When that doesn't mean anything. Like I said before, McDonald's. I use my acknowledge of McDonald's. McDonald's sells the most burgers, but doesn't mean it's a quality product. Like people buy Apple iPhones yearly. People can't even tell you why they bought the iPhone over an Android phone. They just do it because everybody else does it. So, just like how collecting action figures isn't mainstream yet. Just like how Marvel movies wasn't mainstream at one point. You were considered a nerd if you liked Marvel stuff, but because, like, especially if you're black and you liked Marvel stuff, you're considered a huge nerd or whatever. This is definitely like an outcast or whatever. But when they released Black Panther, guess who showed up in the theaters and was selling out the theaters? It's like, it's just fascinating. Now, you're a nerd before, but everybody else wants to see the nerd stuff when it's mainstream now. So, like, once again, if LeBron James comes out and says, hey, he has a huge action figure collection, it's going to be normalized. Just like with anything else. It's like you're the first one who has this, like, weird hobby or whatever. You're going to make a lot of money. You're going to be very rich and probably famous off this stuff. But until it gets mainstream, then everybody's just going to follow along. Just like how Marvel is. Like, Marvel is down at the box office. It wasn't that way at one point. Like, people viewed Marvel and DC as nerdy things. It was, like, definitely weird things for adults to be into. And it was only aimed for kids. But now, they're the biggest things at the box office right now. So, it's just fascinating. So, this whole adults can't collect action figures, or you're just a weirdo if you collect action figures. It's so stupid. It's like I don't care what you do in your spare time. Don't care what I do in my spare time. It's like this is a cheap talking point to weasel out the conversation. Once again, you said Xbox was a subpar product. You couldn't defend why you thought that. You just took a cheap shot because I don't think you got the brain cells to be able to formulate a reason why it's subpar. But other than say, look at the numbers. Just look at the numbers. PlayStation's just dominating. Once again, who cares? I think Xbox is truly better than PlayStation. And those are just my thoughts. You got butthurt, too bad. But yeah. Those are just my thoughts. Like, there's so many things I view as weird that people do, especially with the whole, like, sneakerheads, which is people who buy, like, 20 pairs of gym shoes. I think that's weird. But, you know, that's mainstream. That's normalized because rappers, celebrities, basketball players buy these different shoes. So it's normalized now. You won't be seen as weird if you buy that. But if you buy some action figures, you're just completely nut job. You complete nut job at that point. So, once again, people can't refute points. They got to take personal shots, which is just very disgusting at the end of the day. But, you know, I'm going to conclude it right here. This is going to be a short, non-game, and I guess game-related video that happened, but it's just, like, really... people just don't even realize what they're talking about. Like, once again, like, you can say it's weird, but I'm pretty sure I can look into what you do. Whatever you do in your spare time is fucking weird, and it's like, whatever. But I'm going to include it right here. Definitely want to see your thoughts down below. Leave a like for this video, and as always, thanks for watching, and peace.